With a brewing super El Nino, we're looking at some of the key takeaways. I'm ABC 10 Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods, and along with my coworker Rob Carlmark, we are looking at why Californians need to always be ready for potential flooding and also some of the global impacts El Nino is already delivering. The headline is hard to miss. Super El Nino coming this winter.
El Nino never comes to California. That's always, wait, El Nino is right off. No, it's 3,000 miles away.
But this periodic warming of the eastern tropical Pacific water can have large-scale impacts influencing weather events.
You're going to have storms anyway, and they get influenced by atmospheric rivers. But atmospheric rivers are not the storm. Same with El Nino.
The latest readings show ocean temperatures have warmed to a place we've only seen 3 other times in the last 70 years. Some of those years resulting in catastrophic flooding for California.
In 1982 and 1983, and then 1997-98, which is sort of the benchmark a lot of people use for this is what a very strong El Nino looks like in California.
But the last strong El Nino in 2015-2016 was a normal winter in Northern California and actually below normal in Southern California.
There's a lot of excitement about El Ninos, and it's going to have impacts on our global temperatures for sure. So I think a decent prediction you can make is that we're going to be experiencing some of the warmest temperatures on record.
Ian Faluna, a micrometeorologist with UC Davis, also says agricultural forecasts are leaning into parts of the Sierra being wetter than average.
So if you go a little bit further in our predictive capability, it's likely that increased snowpack in the south, in the southern Sierras, are going to actually help, irrigate the whole Central Valley in some sense.
But overall, our region from the central Sacramento Valley through the northern San Joaquin Valley tends to have a nondescript signal from past El Ninos.
So first off, I'd say whether this winter brings us a lot of El Nino-driven precipitation or not, we need to be vigilant. Going into every wet season, California, an awful lot of the state is at risk of flooding.
Nicholas Pinter, a flood expert at UC Davis, says some of that is naturally occurring, some human-made.
The first mistake we made is building where we shouldn't. Second mistake is not paying attention to climate change, which is expanding those footprints of floodplains of areas at risk of flooding in the state.
As far as how our warming planet might be influencing the effects of El Nino,
how it's going to change to this increasing temperatures is, I think, a very open and exciting scientific question. But I don't think we're there yet and able to answer it.
Whenever I've given lectures or given classes about El Nino, my first slide is a plain black slide with white lettering that says it's complicated.
It just didn't really seem like it would turn out to be something this crazy.
Few things in the weather world fire up the hype train more than El Nino.
The Bureau is today declaring that an El Nino event is underway in the Pacific Ocean.
That's when the water in the central Pacific is much warmer than normal, and it can alter weather patterns all over the world. It's been catching the eye of millions impacted during California's winter, and what starts in the ocean stokes those who enjoy the water and waves. You see, surfers were one of the earliest adopters of the El Nino chatter, including surf forecaster Mark Sponsler, who started Storm Surf. It's one of the best one-stop shops to track the data that goes into El Nino forecasting.
Some winters are dry, some winters are wet. Some years the surf is huge, some years it's not. Some years the snow is just epic and others it isn't. And all this is tied to the El Nino.
This year, most weather experts agree that by now, El Nino is indeed happening. You'll notice the warm water, compared to normal, indicated by yellows and reds, don't just begin and end in the region. It's everywhere.
Well, if it's warmer everywhere, there's more water vapor being pushed up into the atmosphere. That creates more energy, which feeds the jet stream. So it's not an exact science. The research branch of meteorologists are trying to look at this and figure it all out, but it's happening real time, and it's sort of like trying to catch up to a fast moving train. It's a challenge.
Even though this year's El Nino might have some surprises down the road, some signatures are starting to show up now. For Australia, El Nino often means hot and dry with bushfires. They just had their hottest and driest September on record.
Now, in the state that I live in, New South Wales, around 30% of the state has now officially gone into drought, and that's also due to below average rain in August. And just yesterday, we had 80 bushfires across our state. So yeah, there is definitely an impact.
One of the lead meteorologists for the Australian broadcast company, Tom Saunders, is just as tuned into El Nino's development and impacts as we are, and the global event is just getting started. More heat and fire is something nobody wants to go back to.
It's been very hot, it's been very dry, there's bushfires burning, we've had smoke in the air. Many people, I think they're scared because we had our worst bushfire season on record only 4 years ago before that triple La Nina. We lost 3,000 homes during that season. So a lot of people, their memories, they're coming back from that event.
If you enjoyed some of this type of reporting, we've got a whole weather playlist available on ABC 10 Plus. It's under our Weather Extras tab with in-depth forecasts, weather specials like mega flood and water wasted, as well as our California drought series. Again, on ABC 10 Plus under the Weather Extras tab.